Welcome back to Do You Even Real Estate? Your host, Adam and Libby Mitchell, will discuss all things real estate related. We will take you through first-time home buyer all the way up to full-time real estate investors. So stick around. You may learn something. Thanks for watching. We appreciate y'all. All right, everybody. So this is a real estate podcast, but I would like to preface this entire series, this entire podcast, with a little bit on finances and personal finance. Um, Before you go and buy a home, you have to have all your finances in place, right? You don't want to just jump straight into everything with no money. So there's a few things that we put in place before we ever purchased a home, and I think it would be good for everybody to do that. So just to kind of go over it, I think you definitely need to have a personal budget. You need to have um kind of a plan for your money before you go buy a home, because you want to make sure that you have enough money to buy a home if something were to happen, say an air conditioner went out, or you needed to replace your floors, or replace your hot water heater, or replace an appliance. Because it is a little bit different when you're renting, right? Because if you need something replaced when you're renting, you just call your rental association. You just call the landlord, and they'll come. It's on their dime. But whenever you own a house, it's on you. Yeah, you have insurance, but 9 times out of 10, if something needs replacing, it's not going to be an insurance type claim. Um, so definitely, you need to have a personal budget, and the budget is super simple. It's been around for years and years and years. It's nothing new. It's been taught a lot more recently, um, but I mean, don't live past your means, right? Like, that's the purpose of a budget. It just helps you see where your money's going. And to do a budget, you put your income in one column, you put your debt in another column, and then you put your monthly expenses, your rent or your mortgage payment, your utility bills, your food, your gas. All of that needs to have dollar amounts that you pay out every single month, right? And the goal is to give, save, and spend. So you want to give part of your check. Typically, it's 10%. That's what a tithe is. If you're a Christian and you believe that, you give 10% of your paycheck to the church, to God. That's His money. It's all His money, anyways, right? But so 10% giving, and then you want to save. You want to save some money before you start spending your money, and then last, obviously, your monthly expenses. Um, and just make sure your monthly expenses do not exceed your paycheck. If that's the case, then you probably need to cut out Apple Music or Spotify Premium or YouTube Premium or YouTube TV, whatever it may be. You need to cut stuff out if your expenses exceed your monthly income. And we also have debt in there. And yes, everybody talks about debt is credit cards are so bad. Yes, they're awful. Personally, it's we know from experience. Um, you got to pay off debt to have money. It's not fun paying off a credit card. But yeah, that's kind of your budget, and you wanna do all of this before you get paid each month. So before that new month begins, you have a relative idea, even if you're on a fluctuating income, you have a relative idea of how much money you're going to be bringing in that month, right? So just write it all down on paper. It's not hard. Put it in an Excel spreadsheet, um, and get your budget taken care of that way. I promise you, it will help you in the long run. Okay, so after you've got your budget created, then you want to save up kind of an emergency fund. Your emergency fund is going to be there so that you do not have to use a credit card. So if you have $5,000 saved up, or 10,000 or $15,000 saved up set aside in a different account, then that is your emergency fund. This is not supposed to make money. So don't worry about investing it. Just put it in some type of money market fund or a easily accessible but not too easily accessible savings account. That way, if you do need it, you can get to it. And this is things like if your car breaks down, just et cetera, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, those two things right there, once those are in place, then start saving a down payment for a home. 10%, you at least need 10% to be comfortably buying a home. If you get 20% down, then you cut out PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. It has nothing, it does not, it's not for you, it's for your lender. And that's just an added expense. So if you can save 20% on the home that you want, uh, do it, right? Um, if you can have 20% to put down, you cut out that PMI, and that's typically at least an extra $100 per payment that you're cutting out, which in the long run, that's quite a bit. But there's even programs where no money down. Yeah, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you're trying to set yourself up for the future, don't put no money down on a home. That's gonna create the biggest interest payment and least principal payment on your monthly mortgage payment. Not a good combo. Um, but yeah, 10% at least. Try to get 20% or more. Um, and once you've done that, you're pretty well set to buy a home. Don't don't do anything without making sure that you have the money to comfortably pay your monthly mortgage. Don't don't go get some mortgage payment that's 40-50% of your monthly take home pay, because you still want to be going out to eat with your friends. You still want to be investing money for your future in 401ks and Roth IRAs. Um, yeah, not a good thing. Um, but like I said, those three things: get your budget in order. If you're married, sit down with your spouse, get that budget in order, and have a relative idea of where your money is going every month. And a budget is not a restriction; it actually gives you freedom to spend money. It'll tell you exactly where you need to cut out if you need to. It'll tell you where you can add money if you need to. Um, and then secondly, get an emergency fund in place of at least 3 months of expenses. I was listening to a podcast the other day where some acquaintances that we have met in the past, they sold one house, and had they could not sell their other house. Oh, they bought another house but could not sell their home that they were in, and they had an emergency fund. They were okay, but they were glad that they had that emergency fund there, just in case they were to lose their jobs or something were to happen and they needed some extra money. So get your budget in order, get a emergency fund, and then save for a down payment on your home. And once you have gotten at least 10%, then start looking for a house. Contact a real estate agent. Interview your real estate agents. And we're going to try in episode 1 or episode 2, or we don't really know yet which episode it's going to be, but we are going to do a rudimentary basics guide on how and what you need to do to set to get the right realtor to buy your first time home. What kind of terminology you need to know, what you need to do when you contact lenders, your pre-approval. All of that will be covered in later episodes. So y'all stay tuned for all of that. And I'm going to have Libby on, who is a full-time realtor, stay-at-home mom, all-around wonderful person, and so much more I could say about that. But she's going to be on going over from a realtor's perspective, and I think we're going to bring tons of great advice to y'all. It's going to be a fun journey. We're going to try to put these out once a week. But I just wanted to do this episode to make sure that you have your finances in order. I'm so passionate about having your finances in order that I could talk all day about it. It's so important. And if you don't have your finances in order, it's so detrimental to everything. Debt is detrimental to everything. And you want to set yourself up for the future, right? You want to have a great retirement if you want to retire when you get older. But just stay tuned for later episodes, and we can't wait to share all of our advice with you. And yeah, that's really all I have to say today. I just wanted to give y'all this little mini sode, I'll call it, and y'all be sure to share this podcast with all your friends, especially if they are looking into buying their first home, or specifically this first episode right here, if they are wanting some financial advice. But yeah, those 3 steps, keep them in mind. That's get your budget in order, get your emergency fund in place, and then save for a down payment on your house, at least 10%. Try to get 20 to cut out that PMI. I'll talk to y'all later, and stay tuned for more episodes. We can't wait to give y'all all the knowledge. Talk to y'all later.